What's going on, traders? I'm Antoine Farrar, back with another trading video with Digital Goatz Academy. Today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Normally, if you've been tuning into our YouTube, you know that today is market forecast, but I wanted to go in a little bit in depth, not too much, on how like I perceive the market and what I believe every trader should be doing when they perceive the market, just looking at it from a very basic standpoint. Not that basic though. So because of that, I'm gonna focus my attention today with today's session primarily on US 30. I don't really want to look at anything else, but I do want to discuss US 31. I told my community I would discuss like what I was relaying out to them, but also I think that this is important to put on YouTube as well, because I think that as we're heading into Q2, we're seeing the signs that we want to see. But just looking at how the market has been moving overall, I can see that it looks like buyers are starting to present themselves. Now, why do I believe that? Well, this is where it goes into do you know market structure? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know, not in depth, but on all levels, can you read market structure? A lot of times we start ignoring market structure as we're making profit or when we're going in and out of different time frames. We don't try to represent or we don't try to analyze like what happened in the market prior to. You see what I'm saying? So let's get into it. So for US 30, right? Now US 30 last week shot down all the way down to 45K 100. Well, actually, Sunday it opened up, right? So last week it closed at 45, 350. Sunday it opened up with a slight gap up, or was it down? I can't remember. Either way, there was a gap, but I know the market got brought down later on that night. So going into Monday morning, which if we scale down, we can see exactly what time frame that. So between London, so at the beginning of London, Price created his first set of support, and then going into pre-New York, which was still London, Price actually bought up. Which once we hit 7 a.m., what is that today? Yesterday was, I'm tripping. Hold on. Oh, okay, okay. Man, my days, I just got back. I just got back from traveling, so my days are all messed up. I was actually on Chicago's time frame, so that's why I was kind of like messed up. Don't mind me, don't mind me, right? But anyway, we're seeing the right stuff, right? So anyway, yesterday the market got bullish at 7 a.m., like dumb bullish, right? That's the reaction that we were looking for within this zone. This was a prior gap that we had from last year. Now, I do want to bring to light like how we were even able to identify that gap, or not how we were able to, but why this gap is even important, right? This area was where Trump last year had said they were going to do exactly on October 10th. Yep, exactly on October 10th. Now the market was already kind of acting like it was going to sell off. Well, actually showing signs of bearish activity. But October 10th, right? Market got extremely bearish because Donald Trump said that he was going to do another 100% tariff on China, which ended up bringing the market down like with ferocity. So that was the first level of impact that we had to identify some form of structure on a higher time frame, at least on the daily time frame. And as we can see, price bought up and then price shot down November 21st. So between November 20th and November 21st, that's where price created its second form of support to buy back up. Now, until we had this information over here, we couldn't really factor this in as support. This could have been, I mean, yeah, it's support, but support that is going to uphold the market to keep the uptrend. You know what I'm saying? Not support that's just made where the market is going to end up violating it on the opposite side, as we saw these past couple of months, right? So this is our first indication that this is an area that the market may want to target on a higher time frame for support. We were always looking for price of return back here, but up here is where we had the inconsistency. Let me actually get rid of this. Up here is where we had the inconsistency of price actually ranging and not really showing us a directional bias. And then finally, I think we had that economic forum. Trump says something, price gets bullish, goes up to 50K, 50K, well, 50,500. Let's just say that, like 50,500, right? And then the market got brought down. But make no mistake, there's no like, it's not a coincidence or it's not like no reason that the market aimed for this area down here. Like there's always an explanation. Even if you think that, man, I can't believe the market reacted this way, there is mainly always an explanation on why that happened or a reason why. I like to say a reason why. So such as areas that the market is targeting, right? So this was our last support area. Now, there were two things for me that I utilized that made this area stick out, which was one, it's obviously support. You know what I'm saying? Once we hit this area in November, we know that this is a priority level. Well, I wouldn't say a priority level, but this is a high level that, or a high chance that the market may come back to this area because it is support after we establish this in November. Now, I thought that we were testing this high to keep the market continuing after 50K, but as you can see, it still wanted to test this area, which makes sense to me because I did say we need a price to either close below or equal to for us to truly respect this as support. Now, again, I'm just like any other trader. I was definitely manipulated and led astray that the market was going to buy up at areas where it really was continuing to sell off. But that is exactly what we were looking for anyway at the beginning of this year. It's just that it took, 2 months for the market to pretty much do that. But we're seeing the results. And why is that? We're seeing the results because we're looking at this from a simple, like I said, a simple approach. This is structure. This is our first level of support on a daily time frame. And how do we establish like if it's support? Well, not only is it a level of support, but it's also a level where price meets the previous high. So remember we talked about that, I think either on weekly review or last week where we said that price is probably not going to test fully until like the high, how we see like on smaller time frames. On the higher time frame, price is more accurate on like that market structure philosophy. You know what I'm saying? So when price breaks a previous high, this is a previous high over here. And what we should expect, we should expect price to want to test this level. I don't know how many times, but I mean, over here it did it three, but we should expect price to either return back to the high and then start testing it to create some form of structure or create a swing low, like, one time that'll bring the price, that'll bring the market up. Either way, I think we got the results that we were looking for. Now, the reason why I can even confidently say that, yeah, we're probably in a bull market right now, or just be confident that the trend is up is like, look at the history. Now, I don't believe solely alone that we should just be only relying on excuse me, only relying on like past results that the market has produced. But I mean, when you're looking at it on a higher time frame and it doesn't pretty consistent back to back, when you're looking at year to year, you can see that price. Look what it did over here. We created a high back in 2021. So in 2021, we created a high, broke down in 2022, created a swing low, brought the market back up, broke this high, didn't return back to it. This is 2021 until 4 years fucking later. Excuse my French. 4 years fucking later that the market gets brought down. We can drag this back and we can see that, wow, that's crazy. This support meets this high. Now, because this was such a sharp move, like, and the market ran away from us, I'm not thinking that, I know what I just said, but I'm not thinking that, oh, well, price is going to try to come back to this level to test it. Now, if it does that, to me, it would be at a later date. But if it does that, and I mean a later date, like maybe like a whole decade from now. And if that happens, I think that's very concerning, to be honest, because the overall premise of indices have been in an upward formation, so in the uptrend. So I think that would be cause for concern if we break away from this and price comes back down to this level to create true support. So in this case, I'm looking at this as a swing low, right? I'm looking at this as a swing low. And I'm looking at, well, let me clear this up so you're not distracted. I'm looking at this as a swing low, which was the tariff move last year that brought us down initially, beginning of the year, and then brought us down from February to March, and then pushed us back up towards April, right? And I think we saw the signs like maybe like beginning. No, we didn't see no signs beginning of March. It was already into April. I think this year we're seeing the signs in March for buyers. As you can see, this is our bull candle right here on the daily time frame. Well, no, weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame, it's showing you extremely moderate sized bull candle. So it's pretty strong. It's definitely engulfing this candle over here. So like I said, keeping it simple, you know what I'm saying? And again, this is how I go through the charts. I mean, I'm slowing it down. It's a lot more faster than me, but I'm slowing it down. So when I look at, you know, all the confluence that I need or all the things that give me clear signs that the market is remaining in an uptrend, like I'm gonna roll with that. And as you can see, since Sunday, the market has been bullish. That's what we factored in. We factored that in for this previous weekly review. I know I dropped weekly review either today or yesterday, so y'all should have been able to take advantage of that. Well, yeah, y'all should have been able to take advantage of that. Uh, not YouTube, my group. Either way, we're still talking the same language, even though the positions aren't the same no more because the market has already made its move and created data. So based off of what I'm looking at right here, like I'm looking at the trend to continue. The only thing is that we need price to push away from this and never try to come back to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how price reacts based off of like the weekly, um, based off the weekly and the daily. Understand this, that these are definitely because that's the one thing that I was going to say that the market has been sporadic like in the past couple of weeks. And I mean violently sporadic, where you have no hope of return. You know what I'm saying? Even today, the market pulled back, and then by like 4 o'clock, it was back up again, which was crazy. So this market is reacting very violently. So it's like you really have to have caution and definitely execute your trades properly. Not only that, be okay with taking your profit and not trying to let the trade run because we can have one of these scenarios. I feel like this is the time where the market will create these moves where, like, as you can see last year in October, look what this weekly candle did, right? This is a bare weekly candle. Then it gapped up. Remember where the open understands where the open and closes of candles are based off of what candle it is. Buy is low, sell is high. So sell opens up here, buy candles open down here. These are telling you where they opened at. So this is where it opened at after gapping. And I think, did it gap down? I think this was a gap up. Yeah, this is a gap up. You see the gap right there? This is like, I get the like length of where price opened up at, right? So it gapped up and look what it did. It tested that area twice within one day. Damn, within that same week. It created support at that same week. What I'm trying to point out is that price got crazy before it actually started buying up. I don't know if we'll get one of those scenarios again, but you know what I'm saying? Just be cautious that that could definitely happen. Just looking at this candle, look what it did. Look how it opened. So price pushed down. You had to spend the whole week wondering if it was going to buy up. It did, you know, close. And after going high, it closed like a little low, created another buy candle only for what is this? 6 weeks later, no, 4 weeks later for price to meet you back at the open of where this is at. Man, that would piss me off. I'm sure I was caught in this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was taking L's around this time, just because of how the markets decided to start ranging. But either way, what I'm pointing out, like I said, is the structure in the market. And again, how do we confirm structure? We confirm structure with the line chart, right? If you see hills or a valley where you're seeing either basically a V shape being made or an upside down V or a M being made, that's telling you structure, right? I know it may sound like that's kind of like cliche, but That's actually how the market is being formed, you know what I'm saying? Through this line chart, not solely based off of like candles, you know what I'm saying? Candles are those bigger movements, but how it closes is how it looks on a line chart. Oh, I meant to go. So you can see for today or this week so far. Oh yeah, I love that. So this is definitely an area that the market could possibly um test before it buys back up. But anyway, you see how price created this V, or maybe not. You see how price created this V pattern? As you can see, we have these hills and then valleys. So valleys are buys, hills are sells. So you want price to mimic, you know what I'm saying? Like how the trend has been moving. And as you can see from this trend, until we, started moving sideways right here, like price has been creating these V's that push the market up. So, and this is on the same time frame we can see that the past has been already created, right? So this is October 10th, this is November 20th, and then we have March 23rd, right? So based off of like how the structure of like the line chart is looking, we're going to continue being up. The only thing that would happen is if price decided to what? Push back down. But based off of like, and this is where I go looking at, I do look at history. I look at like, because you gotta find the similarities in the market. I do believe that. Hell, that's what helped me conquer this shit last year, finding the similarities. So I know a lot of traders try to, avoid patterns and stuff. Don't get too attached to like the patterns that the banks are teaching you. Find the patterns in in the market for yourself. So, for example, when I'm looking at US 30 right now and I'm seeing that, okay, based off of market structure, I'm not like trying to make up some shit. I'm basing it off of market structure. I can see that I can see that this was a valley made. So this is our first impact of support, and this was another valley made. So even if I don't, and oh man, this looks exactly like what I want to see, where we have that leading candle and then we have the structure that brings the market back up. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I want to see. But on the candlestick chart, it looks a little bit different. It looks like it's equal, right? Or on the weekly, whatever time frame that we saw that. But either way, there's structure here, right? There's structure here based off of support, but there's also structure here where price has closed and actually made a dip, you know what I'm saying, on the line chart. So that's important. I use that, you know what I'm saying? That stuff has to stick out to me. And again, don't get me wrong, like you can see how this dipped up, but it pushed down. It's all within the trend, you know what I'm saying? I think the trend has exhausted based off of what? Based off of past data where we're at a prior level of support that the market has each time it's come to this level, it's pushed up, not to mention, like I said, a gap. And I'm pretty confident when I identify these gaps that the market tends to run away from it, especially after taking like, what is that, October, like 4 or 5 months 5 months to make this move. So that's kind of like that 6 month move theory that I know traders used to talk about. But anyway, I don't want to go too far off subject. So at this point now that I established that this is probably the buy zone back up to 50K and even higher, but I know that price is going to do what? The buy is going to be a little bit slower, but it's going to create opportunities for me to catch like the pullback, right? So after I've identified this area, and y'all saw me just do that just now. Like I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely. And again, finding similarities in the market where it already did something to that degree or very similar. So you can see that this is November. November looks a lot like March, doesn't it? It's crazy, right? Looks a lot like March. Let's see what. Okay, so we had a test. This could be the test. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like this. Make no mistake. Like I said, I'm finding the similarities, but based off of market structure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or make something new that doesn't exist when it comes to trading. And again, this is how my mind is processing the chart. So we have support here. I can put back up my highlights. And now I start breaking it down on a smaller time frame for opportunities, right? So, okay, you start seeing a little bit more information that you weren't seeing before. So, right here, and I'm focusing on today, right? Let's focus on today or what happened the beginning, starting off this week. So here we have is where price got brought down Friday and then finished off Sunday, and then Sunday basically turned us around. That wasn't the open. Sunday turned us around. Oh, we already said that at opening, not opening bell, London, at London. Okay, okay, we're seeing, okay, very similar to last year. Still keeping it on a line chart, right? Where are we on the daily? We're on the 4 hour. 8 hours a custom time frame. You have to add that on yourself if you want to use that. So, okay, this is the dip. And what do we need for like support whenever we're identifying buys? We need price to break, a previous high and then test back into that and then test like a percentage of the area that it pushed up from or a previous high, you know what I'm saying, in order to keep the uptrend, right? Here we have is that price broke out of this area. I'm gonna flip through a candlestick. We broke out of this consolidation down here. Strong break. And all we did was consolidate back and then test. I want to see what percentage because I didn't. Test 618. Now we still need price to push away from this area, but as far as we've seen, like based off of market structure, finding the confluence, right? You can see that this is 618. We know 618 is a golden zone if you're experienced with Fibonacci. If you're not, I suggest you do get experience with Fibonacci. Definitely an asset when you're trying to be more accurate. One, on your entries, possible targets, but also just reading the market in general. I don't use it for like entries and stuff. I mean, kind of, but I'm just trying to analyze like what percentage the market may test because we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be 100% or 618 or 786 or a shallow pullback 382. It's kind of based off of one, the like what day it is, but also is there news, movement, all that other stuff that we're not a computer. You can't analyze everything. That's why you have to find what works. And also here, pattern. What is that? A W pattern. A W pattern in trading considers what? And don't act like that, well, not don't act like, but don't misinterpret and think this simple shit doesn't stand out. You know what I'm saying? When you calm yourself and you start scanning the market, doing your back testing, this stuff starts sticking out to you. You be like, get the fuck out of here. That ain't what I think it is. And then it ends up being that. You know how many times like I went against myself because I was like, because it's like there's no way the market is just showing me what I want to see. You know what I'm saying? And then it does. And then this is exactly, but this isn't me pulling this out of nowhere. This is based off of what we're reading. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say even when you're in profit, you still need to be analyzing the market. But anyway, this buy move brought us down, created this W pattern. Now, what I would expect is us to break, and then if price decided to, because this is the previous high, and let me make this yellow. I just want to make it yellow, so and that kind of clashes. Yeah, I mean, so y'all know blue indicates my support. Also, if you're tuning into this video, make sure you do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. If you are on Instagram, you can follow us at digital underscore goats. That's our Instagram. We're definitely going to be updating and doing more content, on IG for traders coming this year. But anyway, what is this? I'm gonna label it because we're kind of doing a lesson right now. And this all goes into market forecast. Obviously, this is like what I'm projecting the market to do. So if we break away from this, or if because we close, we're at 5:24 p.m. Eastern time right now. So everything is based off the East Coast when you're trading. So that means the market is closed right now. You would have to wait basically a full hour unless you're trading like regular currency pairs like Euro USD. Um, Yeah, like regular currency pairs. So once the market opens back up, we'll get more information. But currently it's closed or paused, whatever you want to say. So if there was a possibility that the market gapped down right here, oh yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident that that's what I'm looking for. But excuse me, if it gaps up or whatever it decides to do or whatnot, we would still want it to either test exactly here or as close as possible. I would assume the market would get you comfortable, break up out of here, and probably like reject this level to come back and test this zone. Possibly. That's just me being extra, but you know, we've kind of been right when we do these call outs like this. I don't stick to it, but something to that effect. You know what I mean? Like, but why are we doing this? The importance is that we're identifying an area that the market could possibly come back to. If it doesn't, great, but we know that there's a possibility. And again, all this is coming back and like this is how I'm perceiving the market. So that way, one, I don't over leverage like when I'm making my moves, but also I look at areas where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this profit and then this looks like it's coming exactly back, you know what I'm saying, to where I wanted to enter again for another opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I can go into like the 945 candles, but I don't really want to do that today. We can save that for another day. If you've been tuning in, you've seen us discuss them, but that'll be like a session for, like I said, another day where we have a little bit more time. I don't want to, because again, the more you talk about trading as far as like information, the more boring it gets, to be honest. And, you know, these days people's attention spans aren't like, how it used to be where everyone's looking for this type of information, which is like cool, you know what I'm saying? I understand. Like, I know that learning about trading is boring. You're looking for the fucking results, but to me, the exciting part is when you're learning and you see what you learn actually play out in the market. That's why we're creating these, like utilizing these 9:45 a.m. candles. Only in the morning, not 9:45 p.m. Only in the morning time are we utilizing this because it's in orientation to indices. So based and then final, you know what I'm saying, when we put everything together now, I don't want to confuse anybody that it's like, wow, if this thing, you know, how it plays out, it's like, wow, man, easy peasy. Like, no. All this stuff I'm collecting data as like I mean, I'm collecting info as like more data is presented to me. So it's not like yeah, I drew this out and the market looks like it's playing to this pattern, which would be what? A bullish flag pattern, possibly. So a bullish flag pattern, it does look like the market is playing out to that, especially how it got bullish at like 4 o'clock out of fucking nowhere. It was like 412 and it just like I think that was like 1,000 pip move, you know what I'm saying, on US 30, which is like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like what's really going on in this market? That's why with indices, you gotta be in it and then kind of, especially this early in the year, kind of wait out the results as far as like how the market is reacting. Not miss any moves. So like, yeah, this was a move that people should have taken profit from. And if you look, this was the correction, which if you caught this entire move, the smart thing to do would be like to take the profit if you're able to catch it in time, and then look for a secondary opportunity, which it's if you just said that, man, this candle, if I divided this candle in half, that's 50%. That's where I'm targeting. It came a little bit lower, but still, we know with indices, we're not going to be super accurate. But based off this information, like based off of what I'm seeing today, what the week has already shown us, yeah, I'm looking for buyers to keep presenting themselves. I don't know if we're going to hit this area up here and then want to come back and create a level of structure before the market actually takes off. I would just be open to that. Like I said, we kind of um, expect the unexpected, or I guess the more expression is like prepare for the worst, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the market is relying on you getting comfortable with seeing this move. Market goes up, this was the trap, brings the market down either um to this high or equal to create support. So, hmm. But that's after we get this move. This is clearly, a bull pattern unless the market decides to violate and this really was consolidating in order to continue to trend down. But like I said, I don't want to think too like far left. I'm going with what the market is showing me. Based off the higher time frame, we're at structure. I mean, a level, well, we're at market structure, which would be a level of support. And this was a prior level on the higher time frame. This was a prior level of resistance. So this was an area that the market had started respecting based off of last year. So yeah, just to keep it simple, to me, this is the buy zone, and the market has definitely been showing us that since it opened up Sunday. So I am surprised how the market is reacting, like how aggressively bullish is. Because it's like, even with yesterday at 7 a.m., like who the fuck was going to predict that? I can't even remember what news was out for the market to even possibly do this. Um, Let me try to think what was. I don't think there was no news unless Trump said something or unless something happened in the Middle East. I don't even think there was no news that made the market react like this. It just did it. And even when you look at Open Bell didn't even do shit. I mean, Open and Bell, I guess, carried us down. Where we at? I guess Open and Bell was the trigger that, for the correction, but that brought us down. So, yeah, I definitely want to do a class on the 9:45 a.m. candle because I believe that'll help some traders and stuff. It's not foolproof, or guaranteed, but like, yeah, it could definitely assist you because I'm utilizing it. So I know it's fucking assisting me. But that's all I got, traders, man. Yeah, this was a great session, I think, to be honest, man. I wanted to lay out some things for us to be prepared because like I really think that Q2 is about to be boom in stock market, cryptocurrency and all. Maybe like things like commodities start tapering off, such as like gold or US oil or UK oil, but I don't know. Um, we'll see as, time moves on this year. But like I said, that's all I got, traders. Yeah, I hope everybody has a successful week based off this information. Hope y'all found value in this information. I'm Antoine Farrar as always, signing off. Peace.